killed, I'm struggling with nothing.
The most important job of any president is to ensure the well-being of our nation's children, because we know that the success of our nation tomorrow depends on the choices we make for our kids today. It depends on whether they can fulfill every last bit of their potential, and we, in turn, can benefit from every last bit of their promise. That is our obligation, not just as parents who love our kids, but as citizens who love this country.
About 2 years ago, a new school lunch law was passed that was supposed to improve, the quality of school lunches around the country.
You're a white-collar boy and you gave in to the law.
Starting with next year, lunch lines will provide more fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Salt will be drastically limited in a process that will be phased in over the next decade to help kids' taste buds make that transition. Some schools across the country are already doing extra credit, surpassing current nutrition guidelines. Schools that meet the new requirements will receive an extra 6 cents of federal funding per meal.
When we send our kids to school, we have a right to expect that they won't be eating the kind of fatty, salty, sugary foods that we're trying to keep from them when they're at home.
We're seeing more salad bars. We're seeing them try and engage students in the process of changing the menus, asking them what healthy foods they'd like to see.
We ain't in prison, we'll just finish up and go home, she said, not for me.
It will reimburse for lunches that meet certain requirements. Really, a school could serve whatever it wanted. But if they have anybody who's qualifying for free or reduced price lunch, then they have to, the only way the government will reimburse for that lunch is if it meets the nutrition standards. In essence, it's affecting all lunches because schools don't make two separate lunches. One that's for the kids who are getting it reimbursed and one that's for everybody else. They make one menu that serves all students. And so really, the new school lunch regulations do affect most public school meals. We still have a nutrition problem.
Based on this, the fruits and the vegetables and the grains, what they do is you have to have a certain number of components for preparing the school lunch for each of the child. So clearly you don't have to have every single thing. The school nutrition programs are really struggling to feed children the best food based on antiquated guidelines from the governments.
First thing I see is pizza for breakfast.
I think that some of the food is decent and then some of the food's really bad. It tastes good, but it's not very healthy.
I think it's pretty good sometimes. Not a huge fan of the hamburgers, a little bit like cardboard sometimes.
I bring lunch because I like the food better and it's healthier. They don't really have a lot of healthy options.
Food here is not healthy, very greasy.
The initial school nutrition was passed a long time ago when malnutrition was one of our nation's biggest problems. And one of the main reason we had to turn away recruits from our military, the people who tried to enlist, was that they were undernourished. They were not fit to fight. The number one reason we turn away 1/4 of young people who go to sign up to enlist in the military is that they're not fit because they're overweight. We still have a nutrition problem.
So in the short term, the effect of poor nutrition on children really has to do with their ability to be in the classroom and learn without proper eating, children have trouble concentrating. It starts to affect their IQ. So it really is important, as much as it's important for adults to eat, it's more important for children to eat because it also affects their growth.
Hunger is a big issue, and that for many kids, they're getting most of their nutrition and most of their calories at school. We're making this effort to reduce the calories and the fat and everything in the school lunch, but there are some kids that maybe they do need it. So Congress passes a law to essentially reauthorize the School Nutrition Act and to require that new standards be imposed. Then it falls on the U.S. Department of Agriculture to actually implement, come up with regulations to implement the law.
Jamie Oliver, renowned British chef who transformed the British school food program.
Everyone can do better.
Has come to our shores to take on the biggest mission of his life, to save an entire American city.
When it grows up, it'll be scrambled eggs.
So that is scrambled egg? I've never seen that before.
It's egg. We steam it.
I didn't know what most of it was, and when I don't know what something is, the alarm bells go off, and I would not ever feed that to my kids, ever.
Is counted as a veggie?
The fries count as a vegetable.
Right.
Congress passed regulations that actually made pizza a vegetable because the amount of tomato paste.
They have to accept comments from anybody who would be affected. So every industry wrote comments about why the proposed regulations would be burdensome or difficult or aren't the right thing. And there were other controversial parts about tomatoes. Tomato sauce on a pizza counted as a vegetable. And tomato concentrate counting as a vegetable. It got very ugly where people are accusing the food industry of trying to squash, new nutritional standards for school lunch.
I know it's only mashed potato, but when I start looking at the mashed potato, then the nuggets, then the pizza, then the milk's got crap in it, the cereal's got crap in it, all of those little things together pisses me off. And if you're a parent, it should piss you off. And I'm telling you that I've been to South Africa in the townships and they're getting better food than your American kids. Now, if I were you, I'd be really pissed off.
The school nutrition associations are trying to work within these guidelines and provide healthy school lunches and breakfasts, they're kind of bumping up against walls.
School Nutrition Association, which is the National Association of Food Service Directors, also were opposed to many parts of the new regulations because there was no way that they could implement them without getting more money. So the regulations came without really an increase of funds. And the new regulations, French fries, which can come frozen and are cheap, or tomato sauce is cheap as opposed to serving fresh tomatoes or green beans. All that stuff is so much more expensive. So while in theory I think a lot of people were supportive of the regulations, it just, in reality, was very difficult to implement.
Do you really recognize any of those ingredients?
Ground beef, first ingredient.
I think you're taking this up with us, and you should be taking it up with the one else is over us. We can't go in and do it ourselves and change it. It has to come from the top.
And I know that feeling. And I know what it's like when you're told what to do and you're measured on what you should do and you've got the nutritionals and all that stuff. I'm talking about causing a big fuss and changing things. Change.
Groups that are coming in now to help with these sort of farm-to-school initiatives and their efforts to get local growers to send more of their products to schools.
All children should have the basic nutrition they need to learn and grow and to pursue their dreams. Because in the end, nothing is more important than the health and well-being of our children. Nothing.
Let's be frank, it's coming from a dark place where the health statistics here are some of the most crippling and scary in the world. Don't sit here and watch this. Get involved. Go have a look what's going on and up the revolution.